Hey there, I'm Scott. I'm the designer of Saga the Northmen. It's a game that's going to be published by Minion Games early next year. The Kickstarter is due to launch within the next couple of weeks. And what I'm doing today is I'm just going to briefly demo the game. This demo isn't meant to be a substitute for the rules, but it should at least give you a good idea of the rules. If it's your first time getting this to the table and you're watching this video, this should help you learn the game. If you're viewing it on the Kickstarter, then hopefully it'll just give you a good overview of the game and see if it's something that you'd be interested in supporting. In any case, we're going to start with setup here, and the first part of setup is pretty simple. Pick your color. You're going to take the infamy card of the colored faction you choose. You're going to take their heroes, a time token, their cubes, and there's blue, green, red, yellow. And then after you pick a color, you're going to deal each player 6 influence cards, which I'll get to these in a bit. But on the back, influence cards have a battle scene, and on the front, they either have some guys or some ships. It would help if I was holding them the right way, but that is your standard infamy card. You will deal each player 6 of those, and with the rest of them, you're going to form a deck. With all but 3 of them face down, you're going to put 3 face up next to the deck, and that'll affect how you draw them, which I'll get into in a bit. You're also going to deal each player 2 trade route cards, and these function as secret objectives in the game, and I'll get into that a bit later as well. But each player gets 2 of those, and then the rest of them also form a deck. Next to the board are 15 plunder token. There's a total of 45 in the game. Each turn, the game lasts 3 turns. Each turn, you're going to use 15 plunder. The other 30 plunder are set aside for the moment until the next round. Every round you're going to slide up another 15 plunder, and they're kind of a clock function, a time function in the game. So at this point, once everyone has their cards, has chosen their color, you're going to determine who the starting player is. In the rulebook it says go by age. You can roll a die, you can arm wrestle for it, whatever you want to do. But you choose who the starting player is. Depending on the starting player then, each player is going to get a number of infamy cubes to start. It varies by who's the starting player and also how many players are in the game. But that's in the rulebook. You take that amount of infamy, you put it on your infamy card, and that's your starting currency of infamy. At this point, the game is fully set up, and you can begin play. Each round of Saga of the Northmen have 3 phases, the first phase of which is the rally phase, where players are going to try to rally the kingdoms of Europe to their cause. They do so by playing influence cards. I'm going to zoom in on them a second. So here we have what would be the blue player's hand of influence cards. Let's look at one of them. We have this card here, which lists a kingdom, the Norwegian kingdom. It has a value of 2, which indicates how many cubes would be placed in that kingdom if it were played, and it has a neutral region listed at the bottom. This indicates that if this card is played, it's going to cede the Abbasid Caliphate with 1 plunder. Let's hypothetically say the blue player played this card. So zooming back out then, the blue player would take 2 of his influence cubes, putting them in the Norwegian kingdom. He would also take 1 plunder for that round's current plunder, and he would place that in the Abbasid Caliphate. Also, when a card is played, the player has a choice to hypothetically spend infamy points, if he has any, to bring a hero on the board. If he spends 3 infamy points, he can bring a hero into the same kingdom in which he put his influence cubes. And heroes function as more powerful units. So once the card is played, it's laid in front of him. He then draws a new card. He can either draw from the top of the deck or from any of the 3 face-up cards, and he replaces the card, bringing his hand back up to 6 cards. This is going to continue with each player playing 1 card until all the plunder tokens for the round, 15 in total, have been used up and are on the board. Once all 15 plunder tokens for that round are on the board, the rally phase immediately ends and play proceeds to the marching phase. The first action of the marching phase is to determine kingdom ownership for all 7 of the kingdoms. And this is done pretty simply. The player who has the most cubes and heroes combined in a kingdom owns that kingdom. The other players in that kingdom have their cubes removed, and they put them on their infamy card, and that becomes infamy that they can use later on during the course of the game. If there's a tie, as there conveniently happens to be in the Saxon kingdom, the player who has a hero in the kingdom, or more heroes in the kingdom I should say, wins the tie, and the other player removes his cubes to his infamy card. If there's a tie in a kingdom where there are no heroes, in this case in the Magyar kingdom, hope I'm pronouncing that right, then the tie goes to the player with the leader token, or clockwise from the leader token, closest clockwise from the leader token. So let's say in this instance that blue has the leader token in this 2-player game. Red would lose control of the Magyar kingdom, and his cubes would be returned to his infamy card. This continues until all control of all the kingdoms has been resolved. Once kingdom control has been resolved, players move the forces of the kingdoms that they own. Kingdoms move in order according to the chart on the right side of the board, with movements starting with the Normans and ending with the Norwegians being the last kingdom to move. Depending on what cards were played in a kingdom, cubes will move in various different ways. For example, looking at the Norwegian kingdom, the blue player in this instance has 6 cubes and a hero. The cards he played for those cubes are 2 soldier cards of 2 value each, and a ship card of 2 value. This means that 4 of the cubes in the kingdom, the soldiers, can move to one of the adjacent neutral regions, but can move nowhere else on the board. So let's say that the blue player moves his 4 soldiers into the Holy Roman Empire. His ships, on the other hand, can move anywhere on the board. However, they cannot move to landlocked neutral regions, which are the Holy Roman Empire and the Duchy of Poland. In this instance, let's say they sail to the Bulgarian kingdom. Finally, the player's hero can function as either a soldier or a ship. He can move into the Holy Roman Empire, or he could sail anywhere, including, say, Africa. Once all kingdoms have moved, battle is resolved in the neutral regions. This is done in the same manner as kingdom control. Simply put, the player with more tokens in the region wins the battle. The player with less tokens in the region removes all his tokens, putting any influence cubes he might have in the region on his infamy card. So for example, in Italy, both the red player and the blue player have 2 tokens. The red player would win due to the fact he has a hero token there. The blue player would remove his 2 influence cubes and put them on his infamy card. The red player would then collect 3 plunder, which will count for 3 VPs at the end of the game. Also during this phase, once the battles have been resolved in a region, a player can declare that they have completed a trade route. Trade route cards have 2 bits of information on them. They have a kingdom on the top, and then they have a neutral region on the bottom. They also have a point value, so 3 bits of information. So, for instance, the blue player controlled the Norman kingdom this turn, and he currently has cubes in the Bulgarian kingdom. At this point, he could flip over his trade route card and say, I completed this trade route, show it to the other players, and at the end of this game, this completed trade route would award him 4 victory points. So once all battles have been resolved, plunder collected, and completed trade routes revealed, the marching phase ends and players move on to the planning phase. During the planning phase, players are going to use their infamy points To draw new trade routes if they wish, they can spend 3 infamy points. To draw 2 trade routes, they can look at the routes, keep one, and put the other at the bottom of the deck. They can also examine their hand from the previous turn and decide if they want to keep any cards from their hand or discard them all. For each card they wish to keep, they have to spend 1 infamy point. Once each player has had a chance to plan accordingly, the next round is ready to begin. The players pass the leader token to the next player clockwise on the table. They slide the next 15 plunder tokens next to the board, and the next round's rally phase is ready to begin. Saga the Northmen lasts 3 rounds. At the end of 3 rounds, the wealthiest Northmen, whoever's collected the most plunder and completed the highest value trade routes, is the winner.